AO log 29.0. It's been a bit. Not exactly sure how long. I had to just double check a moment ago, like how many of these I've already done, what number this one would be. 29.0. Last one I did was like a month ago. Time is 12:25 a.m. British UK time. I think we're in summertime, so BST basically, I believe. August 28th, 2021. So what to say about this week? I thought this week was an interesting week, which is why I'm doing one of these, at least for me. I don't know how interesting I'll come across on this, but this is all about kind of bookmarking things for myself mostly. Not bookmarking, but like live stamping sort of thing. So what was interesting about this week? Well, it's not especially new and nothing like especially significant to report, but the search for another UK CSM continues. I think that's where I left off this last one a while back. I think it was right around the time we extended offer to someone that ended up not accepting it. But we were also very unsure of, or my boss definitely was, before extending that offer. I told her she, except something else, he said, oh, that's for the best, basically. That's his perspective on it, because he wasn't actually sold on her, but he hasn't been sold on anybody. And honestly, neither have I actually either, except for this one guy I thought would be really good and still think would be really good, except for one key thing that my boss highlighted, which was his accent. And at the end of the day, he's British, has a British accent, but I guess kind of Northern England or Scotland, maybe. Not exactly sure. Not too acquainted or familiar with all the accents to like pinpoint it exactly, but had a little bit or an accent, and for native speakers, English speakers, I don't think it was especially bad, but he made a good point that for him, someone like him who's not a native speaker, and many of our customers in Europe that this hire would oversee and manage aren't native speakers, they're in Europe, they speak English, but that's not their first language, would probably have a hard time understanding him or just like following him, right? Or more so maybe like what can actually happen and what even for me kind of happened, but I just let it go, is you might say a word you don't understand, right? And as a non-native speaker, you might like worry about that word you missed, and it might just like trip up your not your train of thought, but your train of following him, like what was that word he just said, sort of thing, right? And you stop and think and try and, think what was that word, and then you just like, he continues and you've lost the thread. So that said, the accent thing is ironically a problem, even for British, even for we're a British company hiring British people, and some people in Britain, their accents too bad for us to hire for. I mean, it's not something I've ever really encountered kind of in America. In America, it's more so maybe like, oh, that Indian accent's just too much. But it's just the kind of level of irony that like even in England, as an English company, there'll be English accents that are too thick for us to hire for. And I said, what about like the American accent? I guess we're just so lucky for Hollywood, really ingratiating the whole world into our way of speak. But with Americans, what it is we speak too fast. So that's the problem, can be. But yeah, and that's a bummer because he'd be really good hire. And in fact, I think he was exactly, to say he's exactly what I need. I can't even say I know exactly what I need, right? It's one of those things I just gotta believe God will give me, right? That will make sense in review, kind of as Steve Jobs says, his infamous Stanford speech, connect the dots backwards. But I thought he would have been a great hire, a good fit, and would have made my team better, would have helped, maybe even made me better, because he had a very like CS ops lean to him. I could really see him being a great CS ops hire, and all that accent stuff wouldn't matter if that were what we hired him for. But we're just not there yet, fortunately, but maybe eventually. But yeah, I mean, he would have been solid on that front, I feel like. The other thing was he was a little intense, but Yeah, that's true. And I feel like, as a CSM, there is a skill to making the conversation feel comfortable. Everybody on the call feel comfortable and casual while still professional, and he's a little intense, granted, but in the context of an interview, how much can you fault someone for being intense too, right? I mean, it's not a very comfortable, casual kind of context to begin with, but that said, it wasn't just the accent, I suppose, right? Even though that really was what it came down to. Because I believe if he came into this team, like he'd, soften some and be a little less intense. And, it's not fair to not fair to take an interview and say that's how someone is in terms of like something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so that said, obviously didn't make him an offer. I felt bad too. And afterwards, he sent me an email, and there have been quite a few candidates who sent me emails for feedback. But this one, I felt like, yeah, you definitely deserve some feedback because I felt really good about him. So did the rest of the team, TNS, S&T, and so did the VP of sales wasn't actually able to interview him. He was on vacation. So it would have been interesting to see what he said or how he weighed in on that one, but he wasn't there for that. So, but the other girl that was on the final round with me, the product lead, was a fan as well. It was just, the boss made the point valid too, that like, if he's having, I mean, his command of English is great, but there's one thing to have a great command of English and it's another to have like a non-native ear, so understood. But that said, when you asked for feedback, I was like, absolutely happy to give you some, because even though it's awkward feedback to give, I think I handled it pretty well, all told, given what the real feedback was, and I gave him the real feedback. But I felt we kind of pulled the rug out from under him a little bit. I was like, no, don't worry, you're not delusional, right? Like we're really keen on you too, but for these reasons, right, we can't move forward. Only recite all that, but did say at the end though that if I think you make a great CS ops hire. If we were a size, or I was in position, if we were a size that merited that hire right now, I would totally look to you to be that for us. Anywho, that said, search continues. But really, what was interesting about this week is that there's a real tale of two employees for me, right? So I only have two that really report directly to me. Technically, the third that reports to me, but there's really no reporting there. It's more like these solution engineers that we have. And they're more like contractors, but they're like basically employees. I think the only reason they're quote unquote contract is because we don't have an entity in Europe. So if she's based in like Denmark or wherever, right? That she's based. We don't have an entity in Denmark, so we have to hire you as like a contract. Similar with like the two hires we have in like St. Petersburg, and this time those are the only three. And then the other SC we had was based out of Moldova or Ukraine. I forget Ukraine in Moldova, but just recently this week moved to the UK. But I guess she reports to me too technically, but it's all very fucking flat, right? And I said maybe I should set up a one-on-one with her. I don't know. Yeah. It seems weird, right, that I wouldn't have a one-on-one with somebody that actually technically reports to me, but given where our company is outside of the actual CSMs, there's really no need for like one-on-one so much, I feel like. But yeah, anywho, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, things are coming together this quarter, knock on wood. We'll see how it all like finally unfolds, but so far so good. And I feel like things are coming together and clicking nicely now. And really my commitment to myself, or at least to myself really above all else, was this quarter to really focus on being a manager, not even a better manager, just like a manager, right? Like you might have had the title for a little while, but I don't feel like in a sense of what like a manager's role and responsibilities are as far as managing a team was I really one, right? Like I was basically just like a lead all this time, I feel like. But now I have like two hires and that, really kind of having more accounts, and there's more like structure and like processes, and really like what's the customer, like it's so bad, it's so embarrassing. Plan, but that's not the word, right? What the fuck do they call it? Not success plan either, but essentially establish a success plan, all this stuff. There's like an order of things, and let's achieve like these things with across our customers at these stages, right? And that's something I worked on this quarter, rolled out this quarter, right? Also like the MBOs, what are the metrics, KPIs, what do you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, that they're being held accountable to now. Previously, it was very much so just like individual goals I would set each quarter with the a girl that reported to me, right? But now it's about standardizing kind of like hard concrete metrics that we will be held each individual CSM accountable to, but also as a team. And they tie into those overall. I'm blanking so hard. Playbook, I guess they call it, playbook for our e-commerce customers, which is our focus, right? And the metrics that those e-commerce customers need to hit at each respective stage, and the CSMs are ultimately held responsible for, and their pay will now be influenced by the variable pay. So anyways, though, I feel like turned a corner there, kind of as far as that CS ops type aspect to being a manager, sure, but also the coaching type, the coaching element as well. So one hire, the one based in US, has been like a total like relief. Relief is not the right word. I mean, really just a godsend, right? Between her and the SE that we hired in last quarter, I mean, they have been just brilliant hires for us. Like, we got so lucky as a company with those two. And then those two partner together quite heavily, actually, because the SC, she's kind of assigned to US accounts, and this is the US CSM. So naturally, obviously, they partner on like a lot together, and they love working together, and they're both new, not so much anymore. Now on their LinkedIn, I think it says 6 months, but on the, actually, yeah, if my CSM says 6 months, she really did start the first, so legitimate, 5 months? But, or legitimate 6 months, I mean, anyway, whatever. But legitimate 5 months. Wow, time fucking flies, bro. But what we really need to do is find the actual USSC for my USCSM, because what's now happened is that to rightfully kind of accommodate the SC based in Denmark, she's still working late to be on these calls with these US customers. But what's ended up happening is that there's this like thick band. It's not even that thick, right? Because there's this band in this like on our calendars, right? Where like all these calls are crammed into. It's really like, from 3 p.m. British time through to like 6 p.m., right? This like band right there, like 6, 7 p.m., right? Like that band right there, it's just like crammed. Not so much on Monday. As a company, we don't take many calls on Monday. I think the company is a lot like me, like, or like the rest are as well. Like if you look, but Thursday through Friday, cramped, right? So we need to get a USSC to break up that like back to back calls band that's happening on her calendar, my calendar kind of thing. But she's been great. I mean, this last week, I think like, I've been on calls with, not on call with her, not on like calls with customers, which I have been as well, right? Because I still haven't transitioned absolutely everything over to her. And at the same time, some of which I have transitioned over to her, there's been some like stuff where it made sense for me to come back for the call or join, join back in for this one or that one. Particularly around like reviews, annual reviews and renewals, but also some like escalation things, not her own fault at all, but like, some things. But what I was saying is that like from 8, I think there was like three nights this week where we basically were on a one-on-one call from like 8 p.m. to like 11 p.m., like 3 hours. right? And we were just chit chatting, right? We were working on stuff. I was showing how to do this, how to do that, and we're working through kind of building out this review and then preparing for this next review they're going to have next week. Going through whatever else as well. I can't even remember now, man. Some brain dead, but like all very fucking productive. And maybe reminding me, I feel like I've had really great like working relationships just in general, right? A lot of my best friends to this day are friends I made at work, right? But also I would say like of note with women as well, right? Like I think back, I know I say no name dropping, but like not like Stacy, right? Like I had a great working relationship with Stacy, you know. There's this girl Yammer that she sat next to me, and we had like I developed a bit of a crush on that one, right? But like, and I know she had a bit of a crush on me too, but she had a boyfriend, right? But we had a great like little like work wifey hubby type thing going too, right? And at the end it's sour, but that was more on me just like letting the cat out the bag. I was in my bed, right? Um, but uh, but I had a great like working relationship with her, and then others as well. Even at this company, early days, right? There's this like older lady I work with as well. Had a great working relationship with her, and yeah, I mean, and then not to mention all the fucking friends I have that I made at work, right? Shout out to just fucking name names. Fuck the no name dropping no more, you know? James, Anthony, Marissa at FedEx, they're still, I mean, they are the people I talk to the most outside of the friends I talk to the most. You know, they're the one group chat that's most active in my life. Maybe the only group chat that's active in my life, to be honest, actually. And those are friends I made at FedEx office coming out of college when I couldn't find a job anywhere else. Then after that, Yammer, only one I took away from Yammer was Alex, but great relationship there too, man. I mean, yeah, absolutely. We ended up working together twice actually. He helped me get the job later at New Relic, like, and friend for life for sure. And there's only one to come out of Yammer for me, but that's also because I didn't. I was a little allergic to Yammer, you know. Um, like much like I was a little allergic to New Relic, actually. New Relic more so, to be honest. And coming out of New Relic, none. No real lifelong friends from that. And I worked there the longest of any of those I just named, you know? But there was one CSM there guy dude that like, and there's a couple of like relationships there that like more so like good business relationships. Like if I wanted to find a job, I'm sure it'd help me get in somewhere here or there, wherever, we grab a beer, this and that, right? That kind of like positive relationship. So it's not like nothing, right? But it's not the same thing as like what I have out of True Baits, for instance, like fucking a fawn, like in Chai, right? And then Chai, I knew before True Baits, but we really became friends there. For what True Baits, when we friends we are now, right? And all those True Baits, right? People, I mean, those all to a T to like a person, right? All people I could reach out to get like a job, like great working relationships, business relationships, and some of which like lifelong friends will be in my wedding sort of thing, right? There again, Stacy as an example. She was a friend from True Base too. Obviously knew her from before, but still. And yeah, man. And we'll see what comes from this, right? Once all this is said and done, it's never any knowing, what would be like, lifelong friend. I think there is a kind of knowing, but we'll see, right? How it's still very interesting for me. Even though I moved all the way out here, I'm still basically like a remote employee, right? So we'll see, as things get back to normal, maybe return to an office, how it actually, evolves for me. But that wasn't what's that? So one is doing amazing actually, and I'm actually in the recruiters using her LinkedIn. I say to them, can we please use her background as like a template for our search, right? Because her LinkedIn is actually exactly what I'm looking for as well. I'm just so glad that she is great too, not just on paper. And we'll see. And then the other one mad love for, right? Inherited her, but and she is more junior, and I do feel bad for her that she's never gotten the kind of training or professional development that some of her age actually you know should get, deserves, would benefit from, basically, from me, right? Because all this time I've been, kind of a side-by-side individual contributor, consumer my own accounts as well, or at one point, but 2/3 of the accounts, right? And but this week was really kind of turning the corner as far as me being more of a manager with her. It started with the previous week doing like a nice long written review, because this quarter, because I worked with them too on setting what our metrics will be as CSMs this quarter, that I said, look, listen, guys, you'll get 100% of your pay this quarter, right? Let's just work together to establish how variable pay will be determined going forward. And they were great in that kind of collaborative process. And most of it was led by me, obviously, but like they definitely had a hand in it, and that's what I wanted. And what we've gotten to is, I think, really good. It's much better than the first pass I presented, so there was an iterative element to it. And like, I even think it's better than what I originally presented too, right? So, and I think it took some kind of thinking and like, anyways, I think it's really a great, how would I even explain it? What do you call these? MBO plan structure. It's just clever, I think, too, right? 40% of it's pegged to a customer's health score. And the health score is pegged to all these different, for every stage customers in, right? There's like 4 different things. So at any given stage, you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 2 or 4, 3 or 4. You basically get a GPA on every single customer at every single stage. And then you average it out, and it comes out to whatever out of 4. So which equals 40% of your pay. And then another 40% of your pay is tied to 20%. That's just tied to like renewals related stuff, but broken down a little bit different. Like one is just don't lose any e-com customers. That's 10% of your pay. You get 1 point, yes or no, and then 2 points tied to are you able to achieve like 120% NRR with your e-com customers? If so, you get 2 points, 20% of your pay. If you get between 100 and 120, you get 1 point, so 1 and 2, so you actually lose 10% of your pay. Anything under 100%, you get 0 points, so you lose actually 20% of your pay. But if you get over 2, right? So let's say you get over 120%, everything you get over 120% is just like an extra point, whatever, right? So let's say you get 130% NRR, you actually get 0.1, right? Extra. So you would get 2.1 out of 2. And so there is opportunity. It's not a zero sum. You can actually, I guess technically it's uncapped, right? But whatever, right? But yeah, I don't have like any accelerators at this point. Maybe look at that like later. But yeah, you actually could get, more than the 2 points equals 20% of your pay, right? And then what else is there? Then there's a team goal of just as a team across, whether they're e-com accounts or not, we just need to not go below 100% NRR, right? As a team, and that team goal will change time to time, right? Subject to change. And then last but not least, they have, and I won't get too detailed here because I realized even explaining the last piece about the renewals just gets fucking confusing. I could just show, why not? I don't know. Whatever though, but another 20% is pegged to like customer feedback. So customers will, at the end of the adoption stage with any of their customers, or at the end within the adoption stage or whatever. And then at the renewal stage, we will survey our customers and get them to provide some feedback. And there's this very specific question in there that leads to, or there's very specific 5 questions in there that lead to factor into like 20% of the pay. And we'll see how it all plays out. So I think it's really good. We'll see how it plays out though. The numbers come in at the end of quarter, what it means for them and their pay. And more so than them and their pay, it's also about like guiding the efforts and setting clear goals and defining what really matters, right? And and I really do believe like if you set good, clear goals with a good employee, like they will hit them or exceed them, right? Um, so it's really on the manager to just set the good, clear goals, and good employee will just get it done or better, So, but without them, what can you really expect? You know. And then this week though, with this the other S, I feel like she just could not win this week. I felt really bad for her. I think it's just one of those weeks for her where it was just a little perfect storm for her, I feel like. And at the end, I'm actually really concerned now, because at the end she definitely was shut down. She was definitely shutting down on me. But we're going into like a 3-day weekend out here, so Monday's off for us in the UK, and I'm really curious but also concerned about how she'll bounce back, because I even said it this week at the end. So I was like, this is like breakdown S week, right? Like it became that. It was like just breaking her down, right? And she was feeling there's no hiding it, right? Like she was almost on the verge of tears at the end of one call, right? And not because I'm tearing into her, but just because um like I said, I feel like she could just do no right this week. Like she just kept making little mistakes left and right, and there's like a little bit more spotlight than most weeks on her this week from me. Following this like really nice written review I did for her, and she really appreciated the written review. And then and then it shifted to, okay, a little bit more spotlight on you this week, because in that review I was to talk about, because I know she wants to get a pay raise, what things we'll be focusing on to get her work toward a pay raise, right? So the spotlight, kind of on her a little more maybe than usual this week, and she was making mistakes left and right, and I just felt for her, right? I've been there, man. Like it's like quicksand, like the harder you struggle to not sink, the more you end up like sinking, sort of thing. And or like another analogy or metaphor or whatnot is like the Midas touch, but in reverse, right? Everything you touch turns to shit. I mean, I've been there too before. And it's just the worst when it just so happens everybody, somebody sees it, when it's just you to notice is one thing, but when, someone else does, it's a whole nother, especially when it's your boss, especially when it's like your first time your boss is really putting that spotlight on you. I know that's not every week for her. I know this was an unusual week for her. I know this, right? But this is the first week I really like paid attention, like not paid attention, but like spotlighted her. So in her head, maybe she's thinking like, oh my God, if he thinks this is how it is, how I am all the time, I'm never going to get a pay raise. They may even fire me. She even said something to that effect. And we'll get into all that. But I could totally see, how like psychologically it just became like a slippery slope for her this week. And heart goes out to her, and I hope when we get back in, on Tuesday, she's no longer shut down on me. She's bounced back. She's like, the fight has returned, because I know she's a fighter. She definitely tapped out at the end of this week, right? And not in the sense of like gave up, but like in the sense of, tapped out means give up, but like in the sense of no wind in her sails. Like wind totally taken out of her sails. She had nothing more to give at the end of the weekend. I feel like she probably felt like if I do anything else, I'm just gonna fuck up another thing. I just need, like paralyzed, like by the end of the week, like, I just need the week to end, I mean, anyone who's hearing me on this must be able to relate on some level, like. Whereas this week, I feel like I was kind of on fire, right? So it's like the dichotomy or whatever. Like I'm like, and some like my energy is very different than somebody else's energy all of a sudden. So there's that like that play as well. And like the other CSM's energy is like my energy this week because we're both like knocking shit out this week, even like together because it was all like US related stuff also. And like her energy's there, my energy's there, and then the other CSM energy is definitely not there because it's just like total opposite. A tale of 2 weeks, right? For two different employees, basically, on my team. For the two, tale of 2 weeks for the two people on my team. And all in the midst of all this, we're looking for like another CSM. And oh my God, if they're not, I just need them to be like this US CSM, seriously. And if they're like the one I have now, the UK CSM who's more junior, I would not, I would basically give this one, if we end up they being more junior, I would give this one the kind of training and attention and like hand holding that I never gave the current UK CSM. So there is, I'm at fault, right, for this. But keep in mind when she first started, I was in the US, she was out here. But still, like, we definitely need to do it different. But at the same time, we're not looking for a more junior person. And at the same time, like this prolonged search is just a greater justification of her for me. And looking at all of these candidates, she becomes more and more valuable to me with every person I feel like with every person I've seen the interview. And I just want to make it work with her. I don't want her to cut and run on me either, right? I want to make it work with her, but also sometimes you just got to break somebody down to build them back up. But I also know damn well sometimes when you break somebody down, they never snap back. Some people, there's like I don't know how to explain this, but like some people there's something changes and they're never the same, like almost like irreparable damage. And other people like snap back or stronger than ever, right? Bounce back or whatever. So we'll see. That's what I'm saying. I'm curious as well as concerned on how she'll respond and return next week. So we'll see. This is a book, not bookmark, life stamp. I don't know. This is a punctuation point of some sort, and I'm just tuning in to basically remind myself. What else to say? There's more to say. I'm done though. I'm tired. These don't have to be forever each time for so long. I'll just say a couple of things just to remind myself of future reference. I did buy into Gusto or whatever it's called, Gusto out here, which delivers like these groceries and recipes and all that stuff for me to make myself. And I basically just hoarded ingredients over the last 2 weeks, right? Like, yeah, I cooked a couple of times, right? Not that I didn't do any, but I think I cooked one meal. I bought one box worth of 4 meals for 2 people for the week because I eat for 2. So I figured, 4 meals over a week. Yeah, I cooked 1 meal out of that box, maybe 2 meals out of that box. Second box comes, I still have a bunch of ingredients from the first box in my fridge and shit. So the next week, I think I cooked 1 meal out of that box, maybe 1 meal. I think 1 meal out of that box. Okay, and all the ingredients and thing, and then I didn't get around to fucking canceling the 3rd order. So I have a 3rd order that came through, and my fridge is fucking fuller than ever, bro. Like huge. Dude. We're talking about 4 meals for 2 people times 3. 4 meals. Let's call it 8 times 3. 24. I have like 24 meals worth of ingredients. Let's call it 22. Let's call it 21. I have like 21 meals worth of fucking ingredients in my fridge, and my fridge is beginning to smell. So some of that shit's going bad, even though it's vacuum sealed. I don't know, maybe there's a lot of fish. I'm not a big fan of fish, man. I'll double check that shit. Like, I know fish is good and great and whatnot for you, health-wise, right? But it's not a big fan of fucking fish. But I would never buy fish myself, so maybe it was an option I didn't uncheck because I thought it'd be good to get something I wouldn't otherwise get. You can always order whatever via Uber Eats, all the chicken options out there I could possibly want, and doner and meats and whatever, but fish not so much. So maybe I don't know, can't remember. was one of those things I order like late at night, like 3 a.m. in bed, just like I'm trying to make a change, you know, and like ordered a fucking subscription to Gusto and whatnot. And then I was like getting so behind on these fucking things. As the UKCSM kept telling me I need to get a fucking air fryer. So I was like, now I got to go buy this air fryer just so because what was happening is I have all these units, but I don't have the time to cook nor the care to cook. Interest. Yeah, it was, yeah, I get it was kind of fun. I'm not saying I don't like enjoy it, but like I don't have the time or energy is what it is, more so than anything. Nor do I enjoy it that much, right? So much that like, oh yeah, let me make the time, you know, to do it and enjoy it so much that I have like the energy or like the drive to do it either. So, you know, I'm just not a foodie, bro. I don't think I have a particularly sophisticated palate either. I'm perfectly happy with the crappiest of foods, and you should look at my fucking Uber Eats rotation, dude. Like it's like pizza, it's McDonald's is in my Uber Eats rotation. Like probably have McDonald's once a week. Like I am not a foodie in the slightest, so it's a little lost on me, obviously. But I do want to eat healthy because I'm a fucking fat ass. Like I need to eat healthy. So I think it was the right call, right move. I did it. Fortunately, I did actually this week. Finally, after this third box, I even thought about they kept left the box down at the apartment. I was like, bring it to my fucking door, dude. Don't leave it down at the fucking first floor. I'm the fucking penthouse motherfucker. Like making me come 5 fucking floors down to pick up this box of fucking food that like, I don't even feel like I have time to get down there to get, right? And it's like sitting there. Fortunately, the box has like ice packs in it or whatever, but still, like, just bring it the fuck to my door, dude. And they did one at a time. One of the boxes arrived at my door. The other two, then the first time they arrived at my door. Maybe they knew it was the first one and they got to do it. I don't know, whatever. But the last two definitely didn't have to go grab that shit. But you'd be sitting there for I don't know how long, right? Well, I know how long. Well, I don't know exactly how long, but basically like half a day before I went down to go get it, and then had to unpack everything and put it in the fucking fridge. And then I have all these boxes now, like fucking stacked up hella high, like because I also have an air fryer box and I have 3 boxes of Gusto, like just stacked up. That's at least 5 foot, yeah, 5 foot high, right? Taller than some girls, some grown girls, grown women, whatever, right? Of boxes over there. The shit I haven't even used. So like, yeah, the third box I was even thought about just like chucking the box straight from the fucking hallway to the dumpster. I was like, dude, like I don't feel like I have fucking room in my fridge. Whatever, made room. And then the air fryer came through. I went and got myself a big ass air fryer. It's too big for the only place I have to put it, actually. Haven't got around to using it yet, but maybe this weekend, all that fucking shit that's going bad in my fridge, I just throw in the air fryer and find out what happens. And given I don't have a sophisticated palate, maybe an air fryer is the answer to like cooking woes. We'll see. And then on the tail end of canceling this Gusto and fucking buying this air fryer and really thinking about returning it because I can't open it without it hitting the cabinet above. I thought it opened this way. And no, it's a handle that looks like it opens out, but actually opens up. And I can't, unless I pull all the way out so it's precariously hanging over the edge of the ledge, can I lift up the lid of this air fryer because of the cabinets over the lid. And that's all the space I have. And I'm not about to show you because that's just a fucking mess over there with pizza, wings, and swear to God, this is like McDonald's apple pies, but they're not McDonald's. I swear to God, the place I ordered this just gets McDonald's apple pies and like resells them. Right? So I'm not sure the best is this, but maybe if I did, but we'll see. That's, I guess, this weekend. Take the fucking decaying fucking ingredients I've hoarded over the last 3 weeks in my fridge, throw them in the air fryer, find out what happens. See how it tastes. Do I even care? And go from there. But on the tail end of what felt like failures across the Gusto and the air fryer, and I haven't even tried the air fryer yet, so I can't say it's a failure yet, but felt like one once I realized I couldn't fucking open it without fucking dangerously moving it. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy some weights, right? So then I bought some weights, like some dumbbells with like the different what discs? They're not called discs. What actually no, this is what they're called. Plates, right? But it's like, all right, but one, so it has like three or four, I think, different plates. So you can do like this, but then there's also another bar, so I can do like that, right? And like, whatever. Very simple design, yet to be unpacked out of the box, which is another box that's stacked over there. That was not even stacked on top of the ones that stacked to 5 foot, right? It's separate, because that would just then be fucking, I don't know, 6 foot high. Still gotta put it together, and I guess I'll pump some iron this weekend as well, right? We'll see. Air fryer and fucking pumping iron. And that's the plan for this weekend. So with that said, I'll get to it. I mean, it is it. I'm not about to do either at this very moment, but time to get some sleep. Wake up early. Pump some iron. Other thing is Turkey's still on the fucking red list. What the fuck? Turkey's still on the motherfucking red list. Dude. They have all these rumors about it most likely being like dropped from it this week, but it wasn't. So we'll see when that actually happens. Now I'm like 2 weeks out from taking a week off with my family in Whitby for my mother's birthday. It was supposed to be her 60th birthday celebration with her twin sister last year, but because of Corona, it got postponed to this year. Not just because of Corona, but also because of my aunt's death. So in 2 weeks' time, it's a combination of whole time with the family in a place that is reports to have little internet, limited internet. They self-report as limited internet, so very little internet. Whitby's just like up northeast, sorry, of England, and coastal. Rented out, like I said, rented out like I don't know if it's appropriate to call it a mansion or whatever, but something, right, that the whole family can come together at. With limited internet for my mom and her sister's birthday, plus 3 days after their birthday is the 1 year anniversary of my aunt's passing. My aunt's death, their sisters, the youngest member of the family, that nuclear family's youngest member anniversary's death. Anniversary of the youngest member of the family's death. So we'll see. That's one I gotta make. Not to me my idea of like a vacation, but at the same time, I think it hopefully is wholesome and maybe exactly what I need actually. All that said, I don't even know why I went there with that. Probably because I won't do another one of these till after that, or who knows, long after that. But looking forward to that. Also was thinking of going to America, specifically Venice Beach, visit my buddy in September, but he's got all sorts of like travel plans in September, which is no surprise. I mean, most people do, a lot of people do. So probably do that trip in October. I'm thinking like Halloween. Probably do another one of these before then though. So let me get that far ahead of myself. But all it says where I'm at with like potential plans. In Turkey, honestly, I just hope it gets dropped from the red list and I will just like book a flight out the very next day. I could book a flight a day of. I've already done it once before, about a year ago. Missed one flight just from the airport, booked another flight from a different airport, took a cab from that airport to the next airport, and just hopped on the flight from the different airport onto an international flight that I booked hours before. I mean, what a concept. As an American, like unthought of, right? Like, I mean, for sure, if I gave it some thought, you could probably do that in Europe. Yeah, surprise, surprise. But like, But yeah, I booked an international flight hours before hopping on it, and to bring me to my summer house home. I mean, that's the real angle to life out here. I have yet to really be able to, among other many other angles of life out here, I've yet to like capitalize on or leverage meaningfully, is how close I am to my summer home. Which is why the irony of this whole like Corona thing, for most people, in most ways, Corona is actually kind of easing up, and opening, returning life to normalcy. But the one way in which still hasn't for me is the worst way in which it hasn't. I don't give a fuck if I'm stuck in my house for another year. Honestly, I really don't care. But not being able to go to fucking my summer house, that is where I'm feeling the pain. Because that to me is the most important thing. Like that is my refresh. That is my sacred space. That is where like I always come back like energized from, sometimes too energized from, oftentimes too energized from, come back kind of manic, but like it's because what it does for me, it just rejuvenates me, honestly. Come back with so much energy. But and the fact I can't go there, the only option for me to go, and then if I come back, I have to pay to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks right on my own damn pocket. So fuck that, that's not happening. So hopefully, maybe, I don't know how often they reevaluate the red list, but hopefully soon enough it gets dropped so I can at least take a weekend. That's how easy it would be to, there's no, take a weekend. It's a 3-hour flight. Take a weekend. And it's cool because they're 3 hours ahead, 2 hours ahead. So what that means is I can leave here at midnight, up on the red eye, brings me in there like for sunrise. So I can be like, okay, Friday night, got to catch that flight, get this. Saturday morning, sun's rising, get a full day of sun. We'll see. We'll see when. All that said, much love. Be happy. Do good. Love your mom.